Kal-el, DCAU. Superman, real name Clark Kent, born Kal-el, is one of the last Kryptonians and Earth's premier superhero. Kind, compassionate, and emotional, he protected his home city of Metropolis from various threats with his incredible power alongside his friends and allies in the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Superman, birth name Kal-el and adopted name Clark Kent, is a Kryptonian and the premier superhero on Earth, often considered the first among equals of the founding members of the Justice League. In his civilian life, he is employed as a professional reporter and resides in Metropolis. History. Early life. Kal-el was an infant sent to Earth by his parents, Jor-El and Lar-El, prior to the destruction of their home planet Krypton. Kal-el's capsule landed near Smallville, Kansas, where he was found by Jonathan Kent and Martha Kent and subsequently took a liking to both of them. The Kents adopted the young Kryptonian, naming him Clark after Martha's maiden name. As a youth growing up in Smallville, Clark encountered Cosmic Boy, Saturn Girl and Chameleon Boy prior to discovering the full extent of his powers. During this incident, he aided the trio in stopping Brainiac, who had traveled back in time from the 30th century to kill Clark before he could become Superman. After defeating Brainiac, the trio returned to their time, but not before Saturn Girl removed all memory of the incident from his mind. Nevertheless, the incident depicted all the strength and courage Clark would imbue as Superman. Sometime later, Clark began to discover his powers, and was sometimes frustrated by his need to hide them from the public. His parents revealed to him the spaceship, as well as a hologram, that arrived with him when he first came to Earth. Clark was told of the destruction of his planet and briefly met his real mother and father. Hero of Metropolis. As an adult, he moved to Metropolis and found employment as a reporter for the Daily Planet. In keeping with his civilian identity of Clark Kent, Superman maintained a high-rise apartment and automobile of his own. Additionally, Clark often ate even though Superman received his sustenance from the yellow sun and did not require food. Even beyond eating for the sake of appearances, as he has done so his entire life with his friends and family, he had become accustomed to food and drink, and even occasionally enjoyed them in private, especially pizza and root beer floats. Regarding the dual nature of his identity, Superman explained that he needed to be Clark to keep him sane, and his adoptive father reinforced that Superman just helps out now and then. An early appearance in costume, saving a young girl, attracted the attention of Lois Lane, as the story replaced one of her own. It was Lois who subsequently gave Clark's costumed persona the name Superman. Superman gave Lois an exclusive interview, his motivation being to alleviate public fears by ensuring that people knew where he came from and why he was here, or, as his adoptive mother put it, so that people would not think he was like that nut from Gotham City. Shortly after his arrival in Metropolis, Superman met his greatest and most persistent adversary, Lex Luthor. In the following months, a variety of costumed criminals, some with metahuman abilities, began to appear in Metropolis to oppose the Man of Steel. A by no means complete list would include the Toyman, the Parasite, Metallo, Livewire, Bizarro, Luminous and Volcana. Superman would also encounter various beings who, like himself, hailed from other worlds, such as the renowned bounty hunter Lobo and the warrior Queen Maxima, or even other dimensions, like the mischievous imp MXYZPTLK. He would even meet a few fellow survivors of Krypton, the Phantom Zone exiled Jax-Uar and Mala, and, most chillingly, the artificial intelligence Brainiac. Even as his roster of enemies continued to swell, Superman would also encounter many individuals whom he would come to consider staunch allies: The Flash, Batman, Dr. Fate, Steel, Aquaman, Robin, Static and the Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner. He also discovered, on Krypton's sister world, a young woman who would become not only a loyal ally but also a new, if adoptive, family member, Supergirl. In time, Superman would also come into periodic contact with beings from the planet Apocalypse, the realm of the malevolent entity who would become another of the Man of Tomorrow's most dangerous opponents, Darkseid. It was the diabolical Lord of Apocalypse who would deal Superman many of his most humbling defeats. These included killing Superman's friend Dan Turpin, and brainwashing the Man of Steel and manipulating him into leading an assault on Earth. Although Superman recovered himself and defeated Darkseid, the immense damage to his reputation with Earth's populace was harder to repair. It would be some time before Superman could regain the people's trust entirely. In spite of this, he would continue his never-ending battle for truth and justice, although he would soon find that he would not need to continue it alone. Protector of Earth and other worlds. After responding to the Imperium invasion, Superman joined with Batman, Flash, Green Lantern, John Stewart, Wonder Woman, Hawkgirl and John Johns to form the Justice League. During this time, Superman and the Justice League would have many adventures, such as defeating Mongol on Warworld and exposing Lex Luthor as a criminal. Two of the more significant adventures for Superman would involve meeting an alternate universe team of the Justice League and face off once more against Darkseid and Brainiac. Both events would come back to haunt Superman in time. During the Thanagarian invasion, Superman and the other founding members, minus Hawkgirl, were imprisoned, but managed to escape thanks to Wonder Woman. Going underground, Batman revealed that he knew Superman and Flash's secret identities, and told them to meet at Wayne Manor. After Hawkgirl gave them information on the Thanagarians' plans to build a hyperspace bypass generator, Superman helped assault Ro-Talik's mothership, but left to save Batman, who was driving the Watchtower into the generator. With the threat past, the Justice League debated on whether or not to allow Hawkgirl to stay. Superman wanted to believe her, but he feared the risk of further betrayal. Ultimately, Superman broke the tie, allowing Hawkgirl to stay in the League. However, Hawkgirl resigned before they could announce their decision. After that, the founding members reorganized the League and recruited the majority of Earth's costumed heroes, in what became loosely known as Justice League Unlimited. After a faux US presidential bid by Luthor, Superman and the Justice League found themselves at odds with Project Cadmus. Cadmus was formed after Superman's brainwashed invasion of Earth and the Justice Lord's incident, and claimed its only goal was the defense of humanity. However, several members of Cadmus would have their own personal agendas separated from the alleged greater goal. Ultimately, Luthor hijacked the Watchtower's binary fusion generator, making it appear as though the Justice League was responsible for attacking Cadmus base. Superman decided that the best way to lower tensions was to turn themselves over to the government. However, Batman convinced Amanda Waller that Luthor was responsible. Confronting Luthor, Brainiac revealed that he was in control of him and merged with him. Flash managed to destroy Brainiac, but appeared to die in the process. Though he nearly killed Luthor, Superman realized that he was not a Justice Lord. After that, Superman decided that the Justice League had to be disbanded, but an impassioned speech by Green Arrow convinced him that the world needed a group of superheroes, and that the League needed the Man of Steel. The outpour of appreciation also convinced Superman that he had regained the trust he had lost after being brainwashed by Darkseid, and Superman stayed on. Luthor became obsessed with resurrecting Brainiac, going so far as to overthrow Gorilla Grodd as the leader of a virtual army of supervillains that Luthor would now use as his pawns. Brainiac's thought patterns were now intermingled with Luthor's, tempting the obsessed human with their knowledge and power. In his mad quest to resurrect Brainiac, Luthor would instead bring Darkseid back to life by accident. Darkseid launched a final massive attack against Earth, which required the mobilization of the Justice League's entire extended roster. After an incredible fistfight, Darkseid resorted to a secret weapon to disable Superman, but before the Warlord could complete his victory, he was diverted by Luthor having found the prized anti-life equation. Superman's two greatest enemies disappeared in a flash of brilliant light and have yet to be seen again in the present day. Later adventures. Superman continued to manage the creatures he was previously imprisoned with to his fortress of solitude. One of these creatures seized control over Superman in the 2040s and held sway over him for several years. Controlled by the creature, Superman attempted to destroy the Justice League Unlimited and take over Earth. However, through the efforts of the new Batman, the parasite was defeated and Superman regained control of himself. Batman told Superman that he declined his offer to join the Justice League. Proud of the second Batman, Superman told Terry that he was like the original Batman, even hinting that he knows of their biological relationship. Around 15 years later, Clark was still active as Superman, and would call Bruce, requesting Terry's assistance on a case he was working on. Whether Superman's Kryptonian DNA slowing his aging, he still showed signs of aging, but only minor as he appeared more like a man in his mid-late 40s, had detrimental effects on Superman's relationship with Lois Lane or upon his Clark Kent identity is unknown. Alternative timeline. In an alternate future created by Kronos, Superman's future self had been killed during the destruction of the Watchtower, along with many other members of the Justice League. In another alternate future created by Toyman, he was believed dead, in reality was flung into the distant future. Superman's secret identity. While Superman kept his identity a closely guarded secret, there were a number of individuals to whom he had either revealed his identity or who had discovered it. Among the most prominent ones are Supergirl, Batman, Lana Lang, Terry McGinnis, the core Justice Leaguers, and at least the initial 3 members of the Legion of Superheroes that he encountered during his youth. Powers and abilities. Superman possessed powers of vast superhuman strength and speed, near invulnerability, flight, super breath, heat vision, X-ray vision, telescopic/microscopic vision, super hearing, and a computer-like mind. He also has precise control over his body's muscles, which gives him the ability to mimic seemingly anyone's voice. He once used this when impersonating a missing Batman. Lana Lang referred to him as a boy genius. While Superman was immensely strong both in terms of muscle power and ability to take physical punishment, he was not invincible. He could be injured, bleed, and conceivably be killed, and has sometimes been known to strain and sweat when performing superhuman feats of strength. In one notable instance, Superman was ambushed by Darkseid while catching his breath after using his own body to drill several holes in the ocean floor. In addition, being hit by the outer fringes of a blast from the Watchtower's binary fusion generator, which was directly stated to have the punch of a small nuclear weapon, was sufficient to both cause severe pain and leave Superman floating unconscious in space, to the point where he had to be retrieved by Dr. Light while still incapacitated. At full power, Superman was shown to be physically superior to the resurrected Darkseid, as he has defeated him many times. His physical strength surpasses that of Darkseid and rivals that of Doomsday. In addition, Superman rarely used all his powers to their full extent. On one occasion, he finally cut loose, revealing to Darkseid that the world was like cardboard to him before proceeding to send him across the city and through at least 3 or 4 skyscrapers with one punch. He was also able to hurl a huge comet through space to stop it from hitting Earth. When he was under Darkseid's control, Superman disintegrated the main wall of an alien fortress with his heat vision, then used it to make the building explode. He also killed a whole army of parademons with a huge blast of heat vision. In the Batman Beyond timeline, Superman has shown to be strong enough to lift a skyscraper. Being a Kryptonian, Superman ages much slower than a normal human, as shown in Batman Beyond, where he had remained in activity and was still in excellent physical condition, being only slightly wrinkled, while Batman had been forced to retire from his superhero career over 20 years earlier due to his old age. Weaknesses. Superman derived his power from the yellow sun of Earth. Forced under a red sun akin to that of his homeworld of Krypton, Superman rapidly lost his powers, reverting to the stature of a normal human. Artificially created red sun radiation had the same effect, although depending on the amount, it can do anything from either completely depriving Superman of his powers or just weakening him. Aside from red sun radiation, Superman's main weakness was kryptonite, radioactive shards of his destroyed home planet. Exposure to kryptonite would rob Superman of his power and cause him great pain, and prolonged exposure could kill him. Superman's only other known weaknesses were magic and power draining, which could injure him as easily as it can any other being. In fact, Superman seemed even more vulnerable to magic than an average human, even with powers. In addition, Superman would display an intolerance to electricity-based attacks, but this would vary depending on opponents and given circumstances. Powers. Kryptonian physiology. Under the effects of a yellow sun, Superman possesses the same potential powers as an average Kryptonian. These include solar energy absorption. Under optimal conditions, this is the main source of Superman's superpowers, as they are contingent upon exposure to solar radiation from a yellow sun star system. His biological makeup includes a number of organs which lack analogs in humans and whose functions are unknown. It is believed that between one or more of these and his biocellular matrix, yellow solar energy is stored for later use. This allows for the use of these powers to fade when yellow solar radiation is not available instead of immediate failure. Heat vision. Superman can, as a conscious act, fire beams of intense heat at a target by looking at it. He can vary the heat and area affected. Superhearing. Superman's hearing is sensitive enough to hear any sound at any volume or pitch. With skill and concentration, he can block out ambient sounds to focus on a specific source or frequency. Enhanced vision. Superman's vision processes the entire electromagnetic spectrum, as well as allowing vast control over selective perception and focus. This umbrella ability includes the following. Electromagnetic spectrum vision. Superman can see well into most of the electromagnetic spectrum. He can see and identify radio and television signals, as well as all other broadcast or transmitted frequencies. Using this ability, he can avoid detection by radar or satellite monitoring methods. This also allows him to see the aura generated by a living thing. Telescopic vision. This is the ability to see something at a great distance, without violating the laws of physics. Though limited, the exact extent of the ability is undetermined. In function, it is similar to the zoom lens on a camera. X-ray vision. This is the ability to see through any volume of matter except lead. Superman can see things behind a solid, opaque object as if it were not there. He can focus this ability to peel back layers of an object, allowing hidden image or inner workings to be observed. The exact type of energy perceived, such as X-rays, cosmic rays, or some other energy invisible to normal humans, is unclear. This ability perceives an ambient energy source, though it does not involve the eye projecting a concentrated, possibly toxic, beam to be reflected back from objects. Microscopic vision. This is the ability to see extremely small objects and images down to the atomic level. Infrared vision. Superman can see with better acuity in darkness, and to a degree in total darkness. Flight. Superman is able to manipulate graviton particles to defy the forces of gravity and achieve flight. This ranges from hovering to moving in any posture, in any direction. Invulnerability, due to the interaction of his dense molecular structure and supercharged bioelectric aura, Superman is nigh invulnerable to extreme energy forces. In addition, his extends this protection against toxins and diseases. Enhanced immunity. Superhuman stamina, Superman is able to maintain continuous strenuous physical action for an indefinite period of time. This based on his body converting yellow solar radiation directly to energy, but is limited by physiological and psychological needs to eat, drink, and sleep. Superhuman strength. Superman's strength is augmented by yellow solar radiation interacting with the greater-than-human density, resilience and biological efficiency of his musculature. His strength is more an act of conscious will on energy fields than actual physical strength. It is this act of conscious will that enables him to perform physical feats that are beyond the mere application force, such as moving a mountain top without said rock crumbling under its own mass. Superhuman speed. Superman is able to move at incredible speed by sheer force of will. This extends to his perceptions and allows for feats such as catching bullets in mid-flight as well as covering vast distances in little or no time. This also confers superhuman agility. Superhuman reflexes. Superbreath. Superman is able to create hurricane-force winds by exhaling air from his lungs. He can chill the air as it leaves his lungs to freeze targets. He can also reverse the process to pull large volumes of air or vapor into his lungs. Longevity. Superman can live longer than regular humans, remaining at his prime as long as he was under the exposure of the yellow sun. Mimicry. Through a combination of superhearing and precise muscle control, Superman can imitate another person's voice. Abilities. Animal training. Driving. Genius-level intellect. Superman possesses incredible intelligence and computational abilities. During Clark's youth, Lana Lang referred to him as a boy genius. Expert combatant. During combat situations, Superman makes use of an improvised fighting style that relies on overwhelming force and speed. He was capable of adapting to and fighting on par with a computer-based cyber ninja, resulting in defeating it in battle. He admits that he was trained by the first Batman, thus defeating Jax-Uar in an intense battle, and even held his own for a while against Jax-Uar's minions after he was wore out, all when he was powerless. Indomitable will. Superman has shown to have a powerful spirit, free of corruption and temptation. Having been raised by a kindly Kansas farmer and his wife, he was taught to protect life and help others. He is very optimistic and never gives up, even when things look bad. Journalism. Clark is one of the top reporters on the Daily Planet, rivaled only by Lois Lane. Leadership. Superman has proven many times over his ability to command respect and inspire others with his charisma, ardor, and idealism. He often serves as the primus inter pares of the Justice League. Survival. Weaponry. Swordsmanship. Weaknesses. Kryptonian physiology. Under the effects of a yellow sun, Superman possesses the same potential weaknesses as an average Kryptonian. These include vulnerability to kryptonite, vulnerability to magic, vulnerability to red sun radiation. Lead. Superman cannot see through lead with his X-ray vision powers. If you want to support me, check out my Patreon at https://www.patreon.com/Kaioshin. I tend to polls that decide important plot stuff in my P at Trian. Many thanks to my awesome patrons.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.